Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Buzz Speaks. This is the Cricket Chat version, and we are doing these Zoom interviews because of the lockdown. Today, my co-host will be Sarshad Bhai, and our honored guest today is a gentleman who we have both Sarshad Bhai and I have had the honor of playing for a long, long time. Sarshad Bhai though has also worked with him in the organization. So, Sarshad Bhai, why don't you introduce Deepak Bhai?
Let's be very honest. Deepak does not need an introduction, to be honest. Well, yes, I've known him for a number of years. A great colleague, a great friend, a very friendly nature. Like I said, he's the gentle giant that, as I might call, although he doesn't look like one, but he is a gentle giant that I know he's always been there as an elder brother for me. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, he doesn't need any introduction. The people who know Deepak really know Deepak. So yeah, I mean that's all that I can say about Deepak.
All right. And Deepak Bhai, is it all right?
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. I thought this was a quick conversation, and Sarshad didn't mention anything about my cricketing skills. I know I suck badly at cricket. Not a good player at all. But thanks, Sarshad. That was a nice introduction.
You're most welcome. But then again, it's really modest of you to think that you really were not a good cricket player. So, well, yeah, modesty does help. But then again, yes, Shabas.
I would like to beg to differ here because when you used to bowl and I used to wicket keep, it was difficult for me to get those ball and the bounce of the ball, to judge the bounce of the ball rather, because it was not easy to understand the ball coming from like literally Burj Khalifa's height.
So yeah, again, thanks for being modest again. Like I said, gentle giant. So it has nothing to do. Yes. The best part was when I had joined FedEx. You have probably had played enough cricket in UAE, and people knew you quite a lot over here in the circuit. And I was just getting myself, let's put it this way. I was making my entry into the cricketing world of UAE. So yeah, and then had the privilege of playing with you first with FedEx at a corporate level, and then of course Sharjah Eagles. So yes, thank you very much for that, and enjoyed playing with you. Had great fun, and in no ways I would say that what you said. I would just take it again and I'll stick to my words that yes, thanks for being modest. Because I still remember there were quite a few occasions. One match that really comes to my mind whenever it's Deepak's name or anything. It was again a corporate tournament. We were playing in DCC grounds at Jeddah, the very first ground which was managed by Al Badr Cricket Club. And it was a night tournament, a match that all the big guns of our team, the FedEx team, were out in the hut, including myself. And we were pretty much made the mood or the decision that, yes, we have lost. But then there's Deepak, who turns his magic wand and from lost the game, he not only brings us back into the game, he even makes us start feeling that, oh, we are winning it. I mean, we are winning it, and the whole dugout, or let's put it this way, the dressing room was in a more relaxed. Jokes started coming out, start pulling each other's legs. Just 5 minutes back or 10 minutes back, everyone was like started to pack and okay, what to do and what not to do. So yeah, he changed the complete complexion of the game. But then again, as they said that it is not won till you actually win it. Unfortunately, he got out and we did lose the game. But I still remember, how he single-handedly, within a span of 2 to 3 overs, from a lost situation, brought us into a win situation. And it was, that's the quality that not everyone has.
I remember that game. It was a rain-affected game. It rained in the middle. There was a bowler who was left-handed, who was not registered to play a game for the team that he was playing for. And he was working somewhere in Jebel Ali, left-handed fast bowler. Shehbaz, we were chasing about 128 in 20 overs. We were 28 for 6
Wow.
in 10 overs. And I can't remember who was my partner. I think it was Suhail. Bilal.
No, Sohail was also out. He would probably be considered as the top gun of the team, in the top order of the team. So he was out. If I'm not mistaken, either you were with Umar.
It was not Umar. It was not Umar. But it doesn't matter who the partner was. But I got out at 120.
And we lost the game.
8-run shot.
Okay. And that was the 7th wicket to fall at 120.
Oh, heartbreak.
Okay. So from 28 for 6 to 120, needing 5 runs to win, I top-edged a shot, got caught at covers. I walked back to the boundary, to the pavilion. There was a changing room there. I went inside, I removed my pads, I came out, and I saw the entire team. We just lost 3 wickets for 5 runs. We were 120 for 7 and we were 120 all out. I mean, that was, I didn't know who to hit with the bat, but we had some real nice, Zohaib was there if I'm not mistaken, who was not allowed to bat. Who? Shehbaz.
You know, if you ask that I did not know whom to hit with the bat, Deepak, let's be honest, you should have finished it.
Should have finished it, by the way.
You should hit yourself. Yes, you played a great innings. It was just a matter of, like I said, 3 or 4 overs. You really brought us back into the game, and we were winning. And as you said, when you came out at 120, you were in the dressing room. Till that time, you had brought us to a situation, yes, where we were winning. But then before we could realize, we had actually lost.
But to be very honest, I want to say something here. Okay, since I was not a part of that match, I can actually be in a neutral position to say something about it. The players who are to be blamed, I think, are the top order, because 120 plus target in 20 overs with the FedEx team of those days, come on. Jarnail, I'm assuming, was there as well in the team.
Yeah.
It's a guy who single-handedly scores double hundreds.
Jarnail broke the floodlights on that ground.
Oh, I'm sure he's broken a lot of things. He's broken car windshields and stuff as well.
Car windshields is fine, but you're talking of floodlights on a ground. And Al Badr ground had those big floodlights, not the small ones like the Hamriya ones. Exactly. He hit the ball onto that. I mean, that guy was, I have no words for that guy. He was a monster, a hard hitter.
My thing on those grounds, I think Jairaj Thakur is the only one who's hit one of the floodlights during those days.
Exactly. After Jairaj Thakur, Jairaj Thakur, exactly.
Jairaj sir was a nightmare. Against Konkan CC, we used to play a lot of matches against them during my school days, and on Al Badr ground. And Jairaj used to just hit double century against us in 25 hours game, like he was just walking in a park. But it was a beautiful experience to play against him as well. I'm sure you also had the same experience.
I've played against him.
So I wanted to,
Sarshad, I said, while I was getting introduced or getting myself into the cricket circle, the name of these Deepak and Jairaj Thakur, they have already established themselves in the circuit. And for me, like I said, to play with, yes, I've played against Jairaj. I don't remember playing with him, but then I had the privilege definitely to play with Deepak. So, like I said, in FedEx, and then we moved on to Sharjah Eagles. So, yeah, these are the few.
Sarshad bhai, sorry to interrupt you, but if you don't, I just want to point out one thing here, which you don't know, that connects me and Deepak bhai more so than the FedEx and Sharjah Eagles matches, was in sports. So, the year I started playing in sports was 2002 something, and I believe a year or so before that, Deepak bhai stopped playing in Indo cricket, if I'm not wrong. But I used to hear about him a lot, because there were only so many players who could actually play well in Indo cricket at that point of time. And Tahir bhai, I'm sure you know about him. He used to talk a lot about Deepak bhai when we started getting closer together, like Tahir and I, during the umpiring events. So yeah, in sports and Indo cricket also connects us. So I wanted to ask Deepak bhai one thing is, when you, as such a frail figure of yours, entering into the nets, how and what kind of tactics would you use rather those days to intimidate the opponents?
Well, see, the indoor cricket, as you know, is a completely different ball game, right? I mean, the ball is never dead until you are dead.
Yeah.
Right? So that's comparatively a different ball game altogether. And well, it took me a lot of time to adapt. You know, running half wicket and then, you know, if you complete the, you know, hit the net and then complete the run, only you get 1 run and 2 runs and 3 runs and 4 runs and so on and so forth. And it's very tiring, to be honest.
But even with your long legs, I think, you know, half the run was like in 2 steps, I'm assuming.
Well, even those 2 steps, but keep in mind, there were people who were very, very fast, very, very quick.
Yeah.
And I actually go back to remember one game. I still have the newspaper cutout of that game, which came. It was a corporate in sports event.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember if Sharshad was there, but we were playing against KLM.
Okay.
And there was a guy from Bombay. He was like forward short leg. He was fielding at forward short leg, right? You know, when you look at the entire cricket ground, he was there. And his tactic was to come and block the non-striker from reaching the striker's end. He would, no matter what the ball is, he would just come. And I think it was not Tahir, it was the other guy who is now in Qatar. Who was the umpire?
Ismail Bhai.
He was the umpire. So I looked up at him and said, listen, this guy is doing it once. I'm okay with it. I pushed him and I ran away. Second time again, he did the same thing. The third time, I'm going to break his leg if he comes in my way. So Ismail spoke to him, whatever. The guy did the same thing. And my bat, unfortunately, slipped from my hand and went and hit his knee. And the guy was out for the rest of the tournament. Right? So what I was trying to come back at is, yes, it's a very intimidating game indoor. It's very fast. It doesn't stop until somebody gets a wicket or whatever. And but it was fun. I mean, you know what? It took me a while. I used to play for Baskin Robbins. I started out at the Group C, Group D, or whatever.
Manoj Bhai, Santosh Bhai, and everyone.
Yeah. So we went off from there, and then we were actually at the A group.
That is funny because my first ever indoor experience was with Baskin Robbins. You know, I went to play for them the first time I entered in sports.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, when I joined FedEx, Deepak had probably made up his mind of not playing outdoor but indoor cricket. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, during those days you used to play only indoor cricket. Yes. You came back to outdoor cricket again because of FedEx corporate team, and then you went on to play. I mean, you continued that. If I'm not mistaken, that was the stage that you were in. I remember very well me coming back from my shift, and I was just doing my closing. And there you have Deepak, and he's like, "Hey, kaisa buddy?" I'm like, Deepak bhai, how are you? And he's like, well, I will speak to you later, but I got to rush now. I've got a match in sports. I still remember. And then he would go out from the because the exit was from the operations, and you had to go
after the
exactly. I mean, even if you have the meetings up, he would just come in, say hi, just to see if any familiar faces. Like mainly it was me, Jarnel, Suki. Just a few handful that, of course, he was friendly with everyone. Like I said, a gentle giant who knew him. So he would just come say hi and then push off. But I still remember that he's saying that, I've got at that point of time, like Shehbaz, if you remember, I was not into in sports.
You never. It took me a lot of begging to get you to indoor cricket.
Exactly. I was still playing outdoor cricket.
See, what I really enjoyed about coming back to outdoor was I came into Dubai in '99, and there was no FedEx cricket team. There was nothing. 2001. I started playing in '99 itself. As soon as I came in, I had the opportunity to play for Trichur CC, and I played for 2 seasons. And then the team was banned because of whatever reason. But that's when happened. And then FedEx, I managed to convince a few big shots in the company to give us some money. My first budget was 5,000 dirhams.
Which was huge that time.
Not really. When you have to buy an entire, you're starting
the kit. Okay, you got it.
Yeah.
And you had Butt Sports in Sharjah, and then you had AJ Sports in
Sharjah.
In Sharjah. But
Sports
and AJ Sports were the same.
Next to each other.
No. There was Shetty Sports in there.
Shetty in
Dubai. In
Shetty
Dubai,
Sports.
yes.
And AJ and Butt Sports in Sharjah.
Sharjah,
Yeah. So buying the entire kit, uniform, things for people, getting it done. Then you realize you're left with 400 dirhams, 500 dirhams. So I managed to convince them. I actually started the team. I mean, to do that. The first year we played 2 tournaments. We didn't even qualify for the knockouts. Right? But we still tried to do that. And the second year or the third year, we won 4 cups. And
that's when Jarnail, Sarshad, they all joined the team, is it?
No, Jarnail was already there.
Okay.
So in 2002, when I was playing for Johnson & Johnson, or Trichur CC Johnson & Johnson in Sharjah Stadium, the Ramadan tournament, Jarnail used to play for Welfit Kasaragod.
And Sarshad's team as well.
If you remember, his scintillating 220 and 110 balls.
Absolutely, nobody can forget that. I mean, nobody from our time can forget it.
In a 30-over game, when the score is 30 for 3 in 10 overs, nobody could believe that they scored 330 for 3 in 30 overs. Jarnail went in and scored a massive 220, 107 balls. I found 18 sixes, 17 fours, 6 balls outside of the stadium, and I was that game was right after my game. So I went for a shower inside the Sharjah Stadium in the changing room, and I came out and I was sitting there and I was just watching. There was a team from London called Kinara CC.
And we're talking about this Sharjah Stadium pitch, which was not really a batting paradise, so to speak, for the.
It was not a batting paradise. It was one of the lousiest.
Yeah.
The Sharjah Stadium pitches that we played on for local tournaments, and the international pitches completely different. We were never. Here there were uneven bounds. I remember me getting out. Good length ball going over my shoulder. The next ball, same area it pitches and hits me on my shin, LBW. Yeah, so that kind of a pitch. It was funny. I would never forget those things. Yeah, but you know what? I think UAE was a good place for cricket. I really enjoyed a lot of my cricketing career in the UAE. All the way from Jeddah, starting with the DCC grounds, going all the way into Sharjah Cricket Council. Initial grounds being, I can't even remember those roads now. Somewhere in the industrial area.
Al-Mulla Plaza.
Al-Nada area, Al-Mulla Plaza.
Yeah. We were discussing that in the last
talk. The Zuleika Hospital is all standing there now.
Exactly. The Hyderabad grounds.
Hyderabad CC. There were other tournaments with very low lights. One light in the middle of the ground.
One light next to the umpire, if I'm not wrong.
Next to the pitch. Giving lights on the batting.
Behind the keeper. That's great.
Those were the hilarious days of playing cricket, man. Then all the way to Ajman.
Ajman, Korfakan, Fujairah, I don't know. They're all going.
No, those ones. Before the Ajman Cricket Council came up.
Yeah.
Right? The grounds that were there were actually belong to Sharjah Cricket Council. Going towards Umm Quwain, those were Sharjah Cricket grounds. There were some other grounds in the industrial area as well. Yeah, and I think after that they moved to Ded.
Yes,
they went to a couple of tournaments in Ded as well.
Yes.
Then of course, nobody can forget when the DCC grounds went away. There's a saying, right? Strike when the iron is hot. This is exactly what Mushtaq Ahmed did with Umm Quwain. He came up with exactly the time when DCC went for a toss, and he flourished. And believe you me, the way he managed those tournaments, the grounds. He did. Hats off to him. He actually carried Quwain cricket on his shoulders.
Absolutely.
Nobody wanted to play in DCC. Nobody wanted to play in Sharjah Cricket Council. Everybody was trying to play Quwain. One guy stood strong, Mushtaq. He stood strong. He had some issues, but that guy, till date, I hear about. I'm in touch with Mushtaq.
So you were saying
something went off with my internet. My internet connection here in the house is having a problem. So I'm now on my hotspot.
Join the club.
No, but this is pretty fast as well. So, sorry. So, like I was saying, I think Mushtaq was the guy who single-handedly shouldered the entire cricketing memory of mine, playing in the of UA Quain.
Yeah.
I mean, fantastic guy, good organized tournaments. And FedEx, I think, won every single year. We won at least one corporate tournament.
Yes.
Well, let's put it this way, that Mushtaq emerged as a lifesaver for the passionate cricketers at that time, when DCC had lost their grounds for the waterfront Jaddah project, whatever. So he came in at that time, and later on, when people were going over to Quain to play, that's when the likes of Hassan Hussain in Ajman al-Hamriya got the opportunity to come up as well. As people were crossing, they would see these grounds, and cricket enthusiasts like, "Arey yaar, this is this ground. Let's go and check."
Yeah.
So that's how they also got introduced, and they also got into the picture, because with the grounds that Mushtaq had, he tried his level best, but then again there was a limitation to how many teams he could accommodate to play those tournaments. So if there were any teams that were left out, those were left out would get the opportunity to play with Hamriya. And of course, the prize was also, the prize factor also played at that point of time.
True. Or the prize factor, Dada. Lekin there's also one more culture in UAE cricket in the B divisions. Actually, is that, let's say I'm not happy with you, okay? I will take Deepak Bhai out and I'll go and make my own team with 3-4 of my friends. And then again, from those guys, if they're not happy, they'll again move out and make another. So the bifurcation of the teams and the disintegration of the teams used to happen every bloody tournament. Like one tournament, a group of guys is playing for one team, the 3-4 of those guys are playing for some other team against this team in the next tournament. So a lot of these situations also emerged over the last so many years.
I'll tell you what. I told you about Trichur CC where I started to play, right?
Yeah.
Trichur CC was born out of Telisheri.
Okay. Nukaf
Telisheri, right? So there were about 58 registered players in Nukaf Telisheri in the year 99. Wow. With Nasir Ka being the captain and the back.
What a player he was.
Yeah, fantastic. All three brothers, right? Nasir Ka, Usman Kuti, and Siddique Mashood. All experienced. Yeah, all
brilliant players. Right? Gentlemen.
Yeah, and the gentleman of the game out of all of them was Nasir Ka. I mean, hats off to the guy. So when I was kind of getting into the cricketing scene of the UAE, Nasir Ka said, "You know what? A lot of the players, only 11 can play, right?
Yes.
When you have 58 registered players, everybody gets to the ground and nobody gets to play. So they said, can we break off and make another team?" So with his blessings, Trichur CC came up. But in Trichur CC, there were again a breakup happening when Carson CC came up, and that's one of the reasons why
Carson CC,
Trichur CC was banned.
I don't even remember that name for a long time.
No. That team also made a good name, Carson.
Big name.
But Carson CC was because of one guy, who was Arjun Raja. I don't know if you guys will remember him.
I heard the name. I was in school. There used to be a lot of newspapers.
Arjun Raja was a Karnataka Ranji player. Yeah. He used to work at Mercator and also play for Mercator, and also was playing for Carson CC on a separate side. One of those tournaments in Sharjah Stadium, a few people from the Trichur CC team were drinking all day long, went to the stadium, created a ruckus. There was a massive fight that happened, and then they realized that, okay, fine, this was because of Trichur CC. So the team got banned, the players got banned. So for 2 years, without anything that I could do, I could not play because they were banned for 2 years. So I could not, and this letter was sent to Abu Dhabi Cricket Council, Sharjah Cricket Council. Sharjah Cricket Council sent it to the other council, so we would not play or get registered as well. But they could not stop me from playing for FedEx. And that was when I tried to create the FedEx team, created it, and I mean, I was very happy to hand over in 2014 when I was leaving Dubai all the cups, every single one of them. Okay, now Sharshad, you will remember this. When the tsunami hit Sri Lanka, we played a tournament. It was a one-day, seven-a-side tournament.
Our kit was yellow. We had yellow T-shirt and let's put it this way. I forgot. I mean, okay, white trousers but yellow T-shirt. If you are not.
This was in Zabil Park, right?
The game.
And it was again a mixed tournament.
Was
the first of a kind.
2 girls allowed.
Exactly. A mixed kind of a tournament.
Seven
First of a
aside.
kind.
7 aside plus 2 girls. If you don't have 2 girls, you'll play with 7. Otherwise, you'll have 2 girls.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that makes you 9.
9. Right?
Yes.
We started our first game was at about 6:30 in the morning. And this was at the two Emirates grass grounds in Jeddah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right? So this was on a turf wicket.
DCC1, DCC2, Air India ground and something like that.
So the games were going on both grounds. Started at 6:30 in the morning. There was a delay. I think it finally started at 8 when the fog went off. Almost at 1:45 a.m.
Yeah, the cup.
we picked up the cup. Okay? Beating teams like Emirates.
And I guess that was the first cup that FedEx as a corporate team we had won.
No, there is a history behind that, exactly, but you guys don't know that. So let me tell you this.
Before you go to your history, I would want to say in that tournament on that day, I started playing, went to FedEx, did my shift, came back again, and then continued.
There were a lot of people who did that actually, because now at 1:45 in the morning.
Was this sorry to cut you off? Was this a time when you were temp, or was this a time when you were already permanent?
I was always permanent. It's just
like the half day shift or the full day shift or something like that.
It was just a designation.
That was the part-timer or full-timer. That's it. That's
yes.
only different.
Yeah.
Yes. FedEx at that point in time would hire college students
like him
to do a part-time so that they can get their visas as well. So FedEx would sponsor the visa, and these guys would work for 4.5 hours, right, and get the visa as well. So that was what it was. But anyways, and I was at work at 8:30 in the morning the following day. So the thing is, I went in, I took that nice little plate that was we won. I kept it in the reception, right? And I went to my desk. And our senior vice president, Hamdi Osman, walks in. He looks at it. He doesn't go anywhere to his office. He comes straight to me. And he says, I heard at 2 a.m., I got a phone call from Ram Menon, senior vice president, Emirates Sky Cargo, saying FedEx won the tournament. I said, I didn't even know we had a cricket team. I said, and they said your name. He said, Deepak, the tall Deepak was there, and I said, okay. I said, very nice. I said, what do you need? 25,000. Given.
Oh!
That is how we started getting the budget for and if you remember, after every game or every game that we won or even we lost badly, whichever way, I would send out an email of the recap to the entire company within the Middle East. I had newspaper cutouts. I had a lot of those stuff. So every year we would do that. And finally, when Hamdi went in 2010, 2011, and we had a new senior vice president who was an Australian, man, that year was fun because he would always come to me and finger me saying, see how badly India is playing. I would actually walk to his office and say, you lost the Ashes. What happened? But that is how that whole cricket journey moved in.
Great passion.
And believe it or not, right? I mean, I'm trying to brag this. When my senior VP, David Ross, heard that I have resigned from FedEx and I'm going back to India, he called me to his office at the Trade Center because I had already moved from the Trade Center to a different office. Went back to his office in the Trade Center. The first line he asked me, what's going to happen with the cricket team, Deepak? I said, I'm going to leave it in capable hands when I'm leaving. He says, I don't want you to go. I said, I'm sorry, sir. I have to go back. Parents are getting old. I have to be with them. The reason for me is going back. He says, but just make sure that, you hand it over to the right people and this cricket legacy continues at FedEx. I mean, I was very proud, to have encountered some really nice people during my journey of cricket at FedEx. Senior managers, even people. But I think Sharshad would remember, he calls me, what do you call it? What giant?
Gentle giant.
A gentle giant. Well, I would be a gentle giant outside the ground, but when you're inside the ground, I don't give a flying F if you are a senior manager or you're a managing director in the company.
I know why that
Inside the
comes. That
ground,
comes from Indo cricket. All
yeah.
Indo cricket players are very good, very aggressive players on the field, and I am also very aggressive. I like that about me.
If you remember what I said,
keep your designation outside. Once you're in the ground, you're a player, and I'm going to tell you what to do. You will do what as I say, because I'm here, the manager of the team, and I was managing the team. I was getting everything done. Man, I would get up in the morning, early morning, take parathas and omelette for these guys, man. I mean,
The only other person I know did stupid stuff like that. The only other person who did stupid stuff like that was Ashraf Bhai, because I stayed with him for almost 10 months, and I remember we used to go shopping the previous nights to get good fresh salami, bun, mozzarella, cheese, I don't know what not, and we used to prepare all those cold sandwiches and keep it ready in the fridge, so that next morning people can come on the ground and have their sandwiches ready for them. I don't know if you.
The best part is the way he would take it the way he would take those boxes to each and every one and make sure, take one. Okay. So yeah, that was commendable. So like I said, when he said this, yes, it reminds us of Ashraf Bhai.
Yeah.
But again, coming back to that, Deepak, I said to people who know Deepak would call him a gentle giant. And of course, for the people who do not know him and they look at you, they are going to be like, oh my God.
Let's stay away from him.
So yeah, let's stay away from him. Let's not mess with him. It's that kind of a situation. So he maintained that, let's put it this way, that character of his that would go with his, that would suit his personality. He wouldn't mix around with him. I mean, like for example, if he's walking and there are 10 people, he knows one guy. He's not going to be joking around with those 9 other people who he doesn't know. But that one guy he knows, the way he is, the way he interacts, and the way he is down to earth with that person will make those 9 people realize that, oh well, we probably had a wrong perception about this guy, the way he looks or the way he carries himself. So that's all about
I was going to
this guy.
say as well. Like my point being, when Deepak Bhai joined the Sharjah Eagles, the Rapco Konkan, whatever team that we were, so many names we have played under. So when Sharjah Eagles happened and Deepak Bhai joined us, obviously we knew him as your colleague, and so I was expecting him to be kind of friendly towards you, hands down. But then he comes and gives me a pat on the back. Hey, superb job, man! Kya keeping hai, zabardast and all that. I'm like, okay, fine. This guy is not like some big high shot person and all. Height and all apart, he's just same level as us, as far as the game is concerned. Yeah, down to earth, completely down to earth. And that was one of the, I think, key things about all the players in our team, in Sharjah Eagles team at the time, because I think Ashraf Bhai chose players who were not only good players, that goes without saying, but also good people apart from the game side. Because Ram, you remember Ram who had played with us. He was also a similar kind of outsider coming into UAE and playing and
he was also a gem of a person. Let's be very honest. Yes.
Have you interacted with Ram, Deepak? I'm sure you have.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm still in touch with Ram. He's in Canada. In fact, you might not remember this guy, or you might have forgotten, or you might actually remember
Shailesh. Yes.
Shailesh and I are in touch.
Where is he? How is he doing?
He's in India. In India. Shailesh used to be our spinner, and obviously he used to be a Sutta partner.
True.
That's a Sarshad man. I'm the simple guy.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, yes, Shailesh was again a great person to have. Let's put it this way, that for playing these many teams, it's one of the things that I would cherish was during this journey of the cricket in UAE was, again, I would repeat, the number of people or the people that you have met that you would really want to be associated, or you want to thank cricket for giving the opportunity to meet such people. One of that person is this. Maybe we were working in FedEx. If cricket wasn't there, maybe we would have been okay. He's an officer in GSP department. Okay, he comes. He's just a colleague, and hi, hello, and that's it. But to what the relation that we share today is basically much more beyond than just being colleagues. It's thanks to cricket.
Absolutely.
That's what I can say.
So the whole idea about making these videos is so that people who have connected over this beautiful game of ours that we love so much, and have interacted for maybe whatever short or long period, but have made an effect in our lives. So personally, I feel Deepak Bhai has affected my life to a very good extent, so that I got to learn a lot of things from him. Like how to be down to earth. I mean, at that point of time, I was in my own bloody world, having my own head in my ass, so to speak. could take up fights with everyone on the ground. But having people like you, who are much more senior, kind of, at least age-wise, a little bit, going back to your original point in the conversation. Yeah. So trying to show that back again. So yeah, whatever. To learn from, you all people, or both of you at least, and guys like Ashok Bhai and all. So that is the whole thing, to just get back and, maybe have one conversation if possible, and, record it for posterity and, keep it up there so we can, maybe years later when his kids of ours become much older and all, we can at least show them, see, this was the camaraderie that we shared on the field. This is the kind of game that we enjoyed, and I hope you also have this with your friends.
Just from my side, I just have a few questions that I want to ask you. First of all is Akshay fond of cricket or is he into football?
Football.
Akshay has played I-League. Akshay has played the under-15 I-League for the South region in India. I-League is the second biggest league of football in India, first being the ISL, then the I-League.
I-League is the government organized one, is the proper one.
Not really, it's the same. Both of them are by the Football Association of India. But Akshay did play the I-League for the South Zone, and he did pretty well. And now he's more into Fortnite, if you know what that is. He's more into computer games and he's more on his PS4.
Okay. Fortnite, okay.
Everyone is into it, man. The situation where you have the lockdown or you have to stay at home, I mean, that's the only thing that you can do.
But no, he's good in basketball, he's good in table tennis, and he's good in football. So these are the three games. Cricket, no. None of my kids are interested in cricket.
Deepak, how many kids do you have?
I have three.
What are the names? We know Akshay now.
Akshay is 17, Riya is 13, and Avi is 10.
Wow.
Avi is also a footballer. He likes to be a goalkeeper because he's a lazy bum. He's as fat as you.
Just like me. Why do you think I'm a wicket keeper? Because I didn't want to run on the field.
Why do you think I said lazy bum like you? Yeah, but but no, he's not that he doesn't like to run. In his age group, when he runs 100 meters, when people are at 70 meters, he's crossed 100 meters.
Wow.
Yeah, but he's just lazy. He just want to, just kick the ball and stand there and just hold the ball, kick the ball.
But to be very honest, football goalkeeping is by no means a lazy thing as compared to wicket keeping. In cricket, at least footballers have to have that agility to jump around. 10 feet or something.
No, it's not. But he's 10 years old. I mean, he's young. I mean, he's still a kid. So yeah, that's what it is.
So, anything else, Shashubhai?
Deepak, again, like coming back to, like you just said, that there are a lot of the experience or the journey that you have had for cricket in UAE from 99 till 2014 till you actually left UAE for good at that point of time. Just a few questions on that. Based on those, of course, Shehbaz would go down to the fact of asking about the batsman, the bowler, the all-rounder, etc., etc. What I would want to ask you is three memorable moments that you had, whereas you were involved in terms of cricket.
Let's have some chai and come back.
One, of course, was the game that you spoke about.
Okay. The Badr CC ground.
Yes.
Yeah, there was another ground. There was another match where I was playing with Trichur CC, and we were chasing 280 in 25 overs. And I used to be the number 10 batsman for Trichur CC at that point. I was just a bowler, right? I mean, I would never get to bat. But Jatti, as he was called, he was the captain of our Trichur CC, just walked up and said, "Pad up." And I padded up. And I was waiting. Openers went in, started whacking. We needed 52 in 18 balls to win. And a wicket went in, I walked in, and I scored 42 in 13 balls. And we won the game.
And which ground was this?
This was a DCC ground as well. I remember that ground as there were a lot of nails on that bloody ground.
Nails.
I used to call it nails, absolute nails. I used to call it the nail ground. I mean,
This was next to Al Nabuda ground.
I don't know. The thing is, I don't remember the names of the grounds.
Was it earlier or the further inside?
No, go inside and on the left hand side. Absolutely.
Next to Expat CC. Next to the Expat ground.
Expat CC.
Next to the Expat. Expat was a beautiful ground.
There was a wall.
Correct. So next to Expat ground that was. Expat was a very good ground. This was a ground next to Expat.
This ground was very fast. There was a very good ground as well. But there were a lot of nails on one side of the ground.
Because of the construction happening, we understand.
Probably.
The factory.
I need my phone, Ayan.
And I think the last, one more memorable thing I would remember is when we were playing against HSBC in Zabil Park. Wherein, again, in a very similar situation. That time Umar was with me on the opposite side, and we needed again some 3.4 overs, 50 odd runs. Jarnail had played a scintillating inning but got out, and there was a guy called Hari Prasad. I don't know if you guys remember.
Hari Prasad Pujari.
Pujari, exactly.
Yeah, he's a friend of this year.
Yeah, he and Jarnail opened up, and then people just got out. And I scored. We needed some 54 odd runs or 50 odd runs in 3.4 overs, and I scored a 23 in 80 balls. One of the memories of that game was I cleared Zabil Park ground.
The top part.
Yeah.
But it was very small actually, to be honest.
Yeah. For you, definitely. Guys like us, it takes a lot of time.
But no. So Jarnail used to effortlessly do it, right?
We're talking about humans.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I remember my mother and father were there. My in-laws were there at that point in time. They were watching, and the ball went while it was still climbing when it crossed the boundary, and it went really far. And fortunately, nobody got injured.
That's good.
But with that thing, and that was the winning shot that I hit. So I remember I cleared that thing. Yeah, but those would be my three. From a batting side, I was not. I told you, like I said, I was not a good bowler, right? So I was whatever batting I could do. But yeah, I think those were some of the moments I would remember.
Okay. Now to again ask you cricketing moments again, where need not necessarily be where you were involved.
There are so many of those, man.
But the ones that involve local cricket.
I was involved from a standpoint of I was a non-striker end. In Zabil Park, I had opened the innings with Jarnail.
Okay, that's good.
Jarnail slammed one ball. It was coming straight at me. I was a non-striker's end. All I did was I moved like this and I put my bat like this. The ball hit the bat and then hit the umpire right in his balls.
Oh shit!
And unfortunately, they had to operate upon that umpire and they had to take one of the testicles out.
That's definitely called a nutcracker.
Yeah, the nuts, instead of the nuts, the nut crack. Only one crack. But that was one crazy event.
Okay.
The second one I was actually watching. Jarnail hit a 220. I mean, unbelievable. And he also hit a double century in Zabil Park. We scored in a 20-over game, 300 plus.
Jarnail could do that. Definitely.
Yeah? No, it is not Jarnail. Jarnail scored some 207, not out.
Mm-hmm.
Sohail scored some 150, not out. Sohail Bilal, 100
like
some not out. The
350,
only wicket that
360
fell was me. The only wicket that fell was me. I was 23 or 24 when I got out. And that team didn't know what to do, and we got them out for 30. I picked up 5 wickets in that game or something.
Anybody would lose hope right after that.
It was like we won with 300 runs or something odd like that, man. Some crazy shit. Yeah, but yeah, this will be like one of those moments where I remember it was fun.
So,
And not to forget, not to forget one. It's not a very happy. There were two in one game in Quain. Two events in the same game. One person dropped a lollipop in slips. And he got a earful from me.
which person?
But in my following over, the same guy had been moved from slips to point. He dived to his left, took a bloody blinder. One-handed, just about touching the ground, he took a blinder.
You talking about Sarshad Bhai here?
Exactly.
I haven't seen him dive at all.
And then, no. When I went and gave him a earful for missing a lollipop, okay, he didn't know what to say. He just shut up and he walked away.
Wow. That actually happened.
But when he took that catch, he came running to me and he hugged me. He said, "Daddy, I made up for it."
Oh.
No, but I'm telling you, that catch was unbelievable.
Absolutely. People who don't dive, if they take a diving catch once in a while, it's got to be unbelievable.
And Sarshad at that point in time was slowly building a tire. The tire in front. He was slowly building the tire. So he was, he had become lethargic. I don't know why. Jarnail and Sarshad, I started beginning to notice, became very lethargic. He would not
FedEx was paying them well.
Or let's put it this way, Deepak was taking care of it.
Probably I was feeding them well, man.
Yeah, the cricketing budgets, now we know where the cricketing budget was going.
This was not personally. No, this was nothing from the budget, huh?
Okay, then maybe your parties.
This was me personally paying for all the food and all the refreshments.
Like the refreshments you used to bring for Shahjahan as well, I know.
I never charged the company. The company would only pay for the
tournaments.
the match tournament fees and balls and bats and all that stuff. Otherwise, net session. All this was my
Like I said, another crazy bugger like Ashram bhai.
Listen, man. I mean, you know what? I believe it to be a family. See, cricketing fraternity is a family. If you do not like to be with your family, then you better not do it.
Yeah. I mean, the whole point of playing these matches was, you spend the whole week in 5 days, 6 days, in some cases working, and then you get that one day and you want to enjoy that beautiful game of cricket with the people who you actually want to be with. Otherwise, there's no point of going and playing that game, Like you will stand in one end of the ground, not talk to the others, That's not how the cricket should be played anyway.
Something just came back. I mean, just kind of remembered this. There was a game that FedEx was playing. It was semi-finals against what was that team? They were one of our. They were like arch rivals. Anyways, we were playing against them, and it was a crazy game, right? I get a call from one of the guys. And says, "Are you going to make it to the ground tomorrow?" And I said, "I don't think so." He says, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm in Cairo." And it's a semi-final game, 1:15, 1:30 start. And I took an early morning flight from Cairo. I landed in Dubai airport at 12:30 in the afternoon, and I was on the ground at 2:50. It was on Emirates. I was flying business class. I remember it's Emirates, that limousine or whatever they had. Took me to Sharjah. I called my maid. She brought my kit down. She took my suitcase. And with my car keys, I put it in my car and I drove like a maniac. Sorry for the French, but I went all the way to Quain. Took 2 radars, but I went and played that game. Crazy, man. Took 2 radars. There was only one bloody radar on the Sharjah road, on the Quain highway, and I took that. I was at 180.
Things we have done for cricket,
Just for the game. Hard mein jaya, but I really want to go play the game. So on the phone, I said, take batting and I'm coming. Put my name there, I'll be there. And I managed to get there, man. I mean, hilarious, crazy stuff.
See, that's what you just remembered it. So that's what I'm saying. Like these things, when you have these chat shows and this comes and then you have it on record, maybe 6 months or 1 year down, you just go through it and then, it just refreshes your memory again. So it's always good to have them Because something that we probably should have done or we didn't do was probably make a list of all these memorable moments and people that we have met, because like I would say that after speaking to Shehbaz 2 days back, I still remember the moments that I had when I was playing in Ashoka CC, one of the top branded teams of the circuit. There was one player that had come by then. I don't know if you remember Nadeem Akbar, or maybe I'm missing the name. He was an opener. Nadeem, I'm sure it was Nadeem, but I don't know whether it was Nadeem Akbar or Nadeem. I'm just a little confused on that. I mean, his attitude towards cricket, I mean, his competitiveness and his approach. I still remember in Sonapur we were playing, and it was the Ramadan tournament, and it was basically, there was an era in which Ashoka would win all those tournaments out over there. And the only rivals that we had at that point of time was Oman Insurance, managed by Ganesh, Ajit Putran, Ganesh at that time.
Wow.
So, yes. So, remember, it was the semi-final match. The opposite team were chasing and they just needed 4 runs to win. Alam Bhai, the captain, everyone having a talk over there, what should we do and what not. And people were a little nervous as to what needs to be done. And Nadeem Akbar, he just walks up. It's like, we had out 1 or 2 top bowlers still having those 1 over of their allotted quota that, they need to bowl with. But then Nadeem Akbar, just when he saw that everyone is there, he just walks up, takes the ball from Alam Bhai's hand and he's like, I'm going to do it. And we won that game. I mean, I still, hats off to him. I really, that is one thing that I will never forget. The way he just comes up, there are 3 or 4 people. Raju Bhai, who was our sponsor, was there. Alam Bhai was there, even Jarnail, myself. We were having a conversation. He just comes from the side because he was on the mid-wicket boundary. The moment he reached, just took the ball. Kya ho gaya yaar? Idhar lao yaar. There he is, on the run-up. Right arm, spin. And,
Pakistani Punjabi, right?
Exactly.
Pakistani Punjabi's attitude towards cricket was completely unreal.
His hook shots were the best. That I could see people from...
Hand-eye coordination is bad. You should be taking that catch.
I have someone troubling me. I don't want to take the name. You need to edit this. I will start doing that when she has her meetings. Yeah. So, I mean, coming back to him, that guy was really great. I mean, he is also one. If you meet that person for the first time and he doesn't know you, you would find him to be a very arrogant person, But then if he mixes around with you and he's a real team. He was a real team player. He was a great person. I mean, many a times, there used to be questions that I and Jarnail would ask him, and the way he would reply would actually keep an impact. So it's like, when we used to have these nets, he used to be so hardworking. Otherwise, in nets, I've even seen most of them, 90% of them, the moment they've finished their batting, they're like, okay, they pack their kits, they're, because it's like, okay, their jumpers start coming on and they zip it and the hands in the pocket, and then the chit-chat session starts. Okay, whatever time is left, it's basically for the others, not for them. I mean, they are done. He was not there. Right from the minute we start the training, the net practice till the end, he would be the last person to get off, despite being the opener. Going in for batting, being the very first person to start the nets. But still, after coming out, it's like, okay, either he's bowling or he's doing some cardio exercises or something or the other. I mean, he had a totally different approach towards cricket.
Most of the teams in UAE struggle to get their half teams in on time for the nets. Forget about the nets, even for the matches at times. So to be first on time means that shows also that he is very punctual. So that's great to hear actually.
So I mean, just remember that also when he brought up the Jarnail memories. So there were a lot of memories that I also shared with with that person Jarnail while we were playing in Ashoka. So it was altogether a great this thing. I mean, like I said, had we known that we would be sitting down like this, maybe after these many years, maybe at least I would have made a list of people that
But
I've
that's the
met.
whole point, bhai. To have something come on the top of your mind and just say it off. See, we are just recording it on our laptops or your mobile phones or whatever stuff, and we're just discussing as friends would over a cup of coffee, over the table. It's just that unfortunately, because of these situations, like to be very honest, I'm grateful for having an application like Zoom where I'm in India, you're in UAE, you're in Bahrain, but we're still talking, and reminiscing about different things. That's the whole point about having these conversations. There's nothing else to it.
And it's good. It gives an opportunity. Like, I've met Deepak after a very, very, very long time.
Same here.
Although we might be saying hi, hello to each other on other social networking sites, but in person, I'm glad and I'm really grateful to see him again after so many years. Like I said, share a very special bond with him, and really, man, thank you.
If he hadn't told us he's balding, we would not know that he's growing older. I thought he's growing younger day by day.
Yeah, it's because of the lockdown. It's good, okay.
Okay,
And that's why I did not give, so that at least he could say, okay, fine, we are also sailing the same boat, so we are aging gracefully. Let's put it that way.
But what, bhai, your beard looks much better. And if I have to grow my beard, it'll be white in grey rather in major parts.
So I guess I should remove the gracefully from you. You are aging
Faster.
not gracefully.
No, I am aging. I don't give a fuck. I'm aging. I'm sorry for that French.
The thing is, you're aging immaturely. The aging is there and you're immature. So that's the problem.
There's one. Okay, let me just
So
tell you one thing.
he started with the helmet thing and he wants to end it with
There is just one thing that will never leave me from all my friends who know me personally. That immature tag is gonna be on my head until I die. Even if I'm 190 years old. It's gonna be there.
Listen, it does not matter. Right?
No, it doesn't.
People who know you and care about you will joke with you.
Absolutely.
People who don't know you and will not care for you, so that's fine. It does not matter. You know what? What's more important for you, or the most important thing for you, is you pick and choose what you want. And just let the rest go. You have 2 years, boss. You listen from one, take out from the other one. Don't bother. Don't register anything here. What you want to keep it, you pick and choose from it. That's it. Absolutely. As simple as that.
So, moving to the next part. Thank you so much for that advice. Now, moving to the better part of it and the bit of a fun part for us, because last time Sarshad was in this hot seat. Now you're in the hot seat. So there are going to be a few questions that I want you to answer that comes right on top of your mind as soon as I finish the questions. Now, all these questions are related to cricketers that you have played with or that you have seen play with. Not the internationals and all that, okay? The ones that you've personally interacted with. So here we go. The first one is, who's your favorite batsman? Of all the cricketers you played with? John Nelson. Who's your favorite bowler?
Sajjad Butt.
Okay. That was a name that hasn't been heard for a long time. Who was your favorite all-rounder?
This is going to be a tough one, but if I am not mistaken, it is Syed Maqsood, who used to play for CSS.
Yeah, he's again continued to, I think he's again restarted playing again for the Mammoths.
Really?
Mammoths again. He's on my friends list. I'm gonna message him as well. Don't worry.
Okay.
Legend, UAE international player. So yes. Great player, definitely. Favorite fielder, the best fielder that you have played with?
Naeem Aslam.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Then I don't know if I should ask this, the best wicket keeper, because you already named him as the best.
Who?
No, Naeem Aslam. Oh, sorry, I missed it. Who's your best wicket keeper?
Aslam.
Got it. I mistake. I don't
know if I'm going to be biased in saying this, but I'm sorry. I don't know if you remember this guy as well. Fida Asghar. Fida Asghar used to be the wicketkeeper for CSS. Consolidated Shipping Services. He used to be a Kerala Ranji player. He was shortlisted to play for India.
Wow.
At the same time, or just after Kirmani, I think between Kiran More and him, there was a choice, but this guy's womanizing and alcoholic problems actually screwed him. But if you had seen this guy keeping, he was unbelievable. I don't know if you guys remember Naeem, the fast bowler of CSS. The guy who would bowl 6 in-swinging Yorkers in an over.
This was around the time.
Naeemullah. No,
Naeemullah.
Naeemullah was on that.
Naeemullah, right?
Yeah.
This guy, Fida Asghar, used to stand up to Naeemullah.
Wow. My kind of keeper.
And not miss a single ball. The guy would be my drinking partner. We would be drinking till 3 o'clock in the morning in Bardubai. And the guy would be on the ground at 7 o'clock in the morning. But unfortunately, a fantastic player, but his alcohol and his other things actually messed him up. But I am telling you, till date, I have never seen a wicketkeeper like him. Honestly, I have not seen a wicketkeeper. Extremely, extremely brilliant. And very down-to-earth guy as well. But unfortunately, his habits.
These are the names, the league that was already there or had made a name while me, Jarnail, we were just coming up. So, as you know, these were the names that we were getting.
In school and we were getting.
Yeah, I mean, no, but we
99, 2000, 2001, 2002. I'm talking of these.
So I was in school. I just graduated my 12th in
for us, it was like, okay, we had finished our school, we were into our colleges, so we were just entering the circuit. I had the opportunity to play with and against Sajjad Butt. Yes, played against CSS a lot of matches, have played against Naeemullah. So that's where the name came. Yes, he was a great player. Another great legend, I would say, or had the person who had a name during that time, or the name was floating, used to be Salim Khan.
Salim Khan.
You all remember?
Another guy who used to hit 200 at will.
Salim Khan was from Bombay. If I'm not mistaken, he divorced his wife for cricket.
Exactly. So, I mean, I don't know about that, but in terms of cricket,
I do remember because
don't know about those internal gossips, but yeah.
Talak kar diya cricket ke.
Sana Rendekar, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, Sana Rendekar, yes, and he was one name. So when you're talking about those leagues where you have this Naeemullah, and then you have the Salim Khan, the Ajit Putran, then you have
Syed Maqsood
all these. Syed Maqsood, yes, definitely. Why not? Then Nasir sir.
Nasir sir, obviously.
Yes, Mr. Usman Kutti.
Usman sir, yeah.
Yeah, yes, I always, you know what, every time I met him, I would always ask him, why do you chuck on your third ball? And he says, बाहर से मालूम पड़ता है? I बोला, absolutely मालूम पड़ता है. But he was very quick. He was, I mean, I think all the three brothers, like I said, were fantastic cricketers. And I actually shared a lot of, I don't know if you guys know Manoj. He was also part of of Kalishari, plus another wicketkeeper, Zulfikar.
Yes, that name rings a bell.
No, for Kalishari.
For
Kalishari, Zulfi, another excellent wicketkeeper.
Okay.
I mean, Shehbaz, I don't know if you would have had the
I haven't heard about it. No, I mean, as I said, I was too young. I was in my own world in 12th standard, so trying to just pass out of 12th somehow at that time, I guess.
Just because you call me on the cricket chat doesn't mean I'm going to say, Shehbaz, you are the best.
No, absolutely not. Right? That goes without saying.
I was at the high when I was playing, and
I mean, see, I love
Pawan.
Pawan, no. Which team?
We lost you, Deepak.
Which team?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Your video had hanged.
Pawan was another left-arm fast bowler. He used to play with me at Trichur CC and play for FedEx as well as a guest player.
Okay.
We had got him for 1 or 2 matches. We had an issue with him not being a player, so we decided not to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But he was another very fun. In his days, when he was with our own English high school, and the days that he was playing in the UAE as a school student, he was considered the second fastest bowler. Guess who was the first one?
Leon Carlo.
No.
Leon Carlo. Oh, I'm talking about okay, those
Sharjah Islamic School.
Yeah.
Remember, Shashad used to come to Sharjah. The nets we used to do in Sharjah, right behind my house. He was a student of Sharjah Islamic School.
Those are one of the most oldest nets, if I'm not wrong, in the whole of UAE, right?
And
one
they
of the
were very-
legends that
they
we
were
have
very
probably
decent
forgotten
competitors.
is I think Deepak must have got an opportunity to play with him, because by the time I was playing, he was more into, you know, putting his shoes. Was a Sri Lankan legend, Samarasekera.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Rohan, no, what's his name?
Johan
Johan,
Samarasekera.
Johan.
Rohan.
Johan
I will remember this. I will never forget this. He was a opening bowler for the UAE as well.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And he used to
And-
play for Lloyds Bank, while I
Lloyds
just
Bank.
had a small stint with Lloyds Bank along with Jarnail that we had played. So that's how I came to know. I would say that yes, he also, when you meet him, I mean, people used to be scared of him, like people used to be scared of Malcolm Marshall at one time, the West Indies bowling lineup. In UAE, people used to be scared of him at one given time, Samarasekera. But again, I would say that yes, you would be scared of him as a bowler and the way he used to bowl or the way he used to carry himself. But when you know him as a person, again, a gentleman, you know, a great down-to-earth person. He would, you know, I mean, he never had that arrogance that, okay, fine, I'm a senior, if there's any junior going and asking, or, you know, he himself had that, you know, that let's put it this way, that courtesy, that if he sees someone doing something wrong in terms of cricket, he would walk and then he would try to correct him, or, you know, try to give his insights that probably when you're bowling, hold it this way, this is where you are wrong, or probably in batting. And he would, okay, people going and asking him was a different thing. He was always there to help and assist and coach. However, like I said, if he would see someone doing wrong, he had that, you know, that he would walk up to them and say that if you do it this way, it is much better. I remember
one of the games that I watched with Lloyds TSB play at Sharjah Stadium was also something which is funny. Johan bowled the first ball. He got hit for a 4-over covers.
Okay.
A very nice cover to ride.
Just give me 1 minute, guys. I've just got some maintenance things to be done. Just let me just look at it and I'll join you back. Yeah, thanks.
And the second ball that he bowled in Sharjah Stadium, the wicket keeper went to the boundary to get the bails.
I'm not sure what the batsman must have even seen the ball.
Nobody realized that the wicket was gone. The stumps did not move, nothing. The ball hit the bails and the bails flew outside the boundary.
Lucky it didn't go to the wicketkeeper's eye.
Even the wicketkeeper didn't. We were all searching for the bails for a few minutes. And then the wicketkeeper goes behind, looking, and he finds it outside the boundary.
This was over Sharjah now,
It's Sharjah Stadium.
where the pitches were not that great.
That guy was extremely fast bowler, and he was good. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You know, I don't know why his name did not show up, because I probably didn't play against him, or I never faced him. But I faced Sajjad Butt, so I know what the thing
I
was.
want to ask you a question. Did you get a chance to play against a left-arm fast bowler from Al Futtaim group called Azhar Bhatti?
No, I can't remember. Al Futtaim group. Al Futtaim.
This was pre-FedEx days I'm talking about.
No.
By 2001 and 2002.
I played more of Al Futtaim. There were two Al Futtaim teams. One was the Toyota, one was the Trading Enterprises team, the Honda.
Those were much later. I mean, when I joined Al Futtaim in 2004 something.
I never played this.
That time it was Al Futtaim Group as such. Before that, it was completely Al Futtaim Group, and all these different companies used to have the team players together in one team. After I joined, maybe a year after I joined, there were a lot of bifurcation for some reason. Maybe the new guy didn't person much. So then Al Futtaim Electronics became one, Al Futtaim Honda Trading Enterprises became one, and then Toyota Al Futtaim Motors became the other third. That became the strongest.
It again is due to the fact, or that due to the reason that Deepak has shared, that 58 members in one team, but only 11 get to play. So what to do?
The Al Futtaim division, I remember one of the reasons was because the Shahid Musa, the captain at the time, had shifted from Al Futtaim Logistics, where I was working, and he shifted to Honda trading. And the trading people were so enthusiastic, the Honda, the Trading Enterprises people, that they wanted to make their own team. And by the time, another Shahid Bhai, what is the last name? Shahid Musa is one. Shahid Ali bhai. Shahid Ali. He was a part
in
of
Toyota.
Toyota Motors. So he wanted to
Yes.
be the captain at the time. But then he had a strong guys coming in his side and so they started hiring
In
cricketers. And
in
then he became
Al-Futtaim, you had Banaras, you had
Banaras bhai,
Ghulam,
yeah,
Christian
what a player.
Best.
What a player.
Yeah.
Taji.
And then
Remember Taji?
Taji, the left arm spinner.
MPS. So he's actually it was his bowling on which I got hit. The batsman hit me on the face I was keeping and I just removed my helmet. Just for that.
So it has nothing to do with the ball. It is actually the frustration that the batsman had on Taji. He was such an irritating, annoying character on the field.
Can you imagine Sarshubhai Taji bowling and irritating him in front of the wicket and me irritating him in behind the wicket? So I was a closer one, so he took it out on me.
Yeah, great, good for you.
That's a double whammy, man.
Yeah, dude, seriously. After that, I haven't gone on to keep without a helmet. So lesson learned.
Hey, Shebas, let's
wrap it up. Sorry.
Yeah, let's run.
So I want to ask you just last one question. You know, of all these years of playing with so many legendary cricketers of our times, your times, even before I started even coming to these grounds. If you had to choose maybe one player, you could maybe choose to represent or bat for your life or bowl for your life or whatever, represent the game of cricket, and had that been the case, who would that one player be and why?
If I had to save my life,
if a player had to, if it had to depend on a player playing a game and doing his wares, and your life would depend on him exhibiting his skills to the best of his knowledge, who would you choose to represent to save your life?
The guy sitting next to you.
Okay.
This guy.
And why would that be?
Well, you know what? To be honest, I mean, there would be probably multiple names that come onto my mind, right? But when you had to look at someone who is consistently playing, right? When it comes to Jarnail Singh as an opener, you can never trust that guy, because he will start whacking, he will start hammering, or he will just get out to a very stupid ball. But somebody who would build the innings together, stand there, play the strokes, but also get into singles, get into doubles, scream at the partner, "Sale cigarette zyada pee raha hai, kam kar, bhagne ko nahi ho raha hai," and build an innings. Is this guy? Sure.
I'm sorry about that. Deepak. But then again, I still remember, if I'm not mistaken, that was against Watson. No, not Watson. Expex ground. And I'm sorry. I mean, it was in the heat of the game that had come out.
No,
yes.
that's it. What happens in the...
You said that way on the ground?
We both were. There were a number of occasions that we both had, batted together. We had partnerships. But then that was one in which I found him, I don't know, that was the only game probably that he was not responding to my calls. And it was, again, a crunch situation where we were chasing. Okay. And I was calling him for a double because I wanted to keep the strike. And so he was probably not responding to it just came out. Phukna band kar.
In the zone.
Bhaga nahi ja raha hai tujhse. Because, I know him, like you said, a giant in 3 or 4 steps could finish before I reach, he should be reaching.
And he was fast. I mean,
he was fast. So that's what I'm saying. So that's why I just said him once.
All right, great.
But one good thing, being a senior player at that point of time also, he didn't have that arrogance. Like I said, he's a gentle giant. He just, he understood it was in the heat of the game. Nothing personal. We share a different bond. I would never say anything to him. Okay, if I'm joking, that's something different. But I would never comment on, pass such comments on him. But I'm really happy that at that time he just took it quietly and just let the game go on. Again, at times we do.
See, it was my mistake. I had eaten something that I shouldn't have eaten, and the quantity that I ate was a lot. So I was not able to. I was feeling like I was going to throw up, right? And that situation, it's very difficult. And then it's like you're your lungs is not able to, you start getting cramps right between your stomach and your lungs. That area you're getting cramps and you're not able to run. And I know if I'm going to push myself, I'm going to throw up. And it's not nice to have, chicken biryani flying on the, and a lot of chicken biryani with raita on the pitch, right? Come on. So there is no option for me.
I didn't know that. And no one knew that. He didn't tell that to anyone. So it's like, okay, he's opening up today, but no one knew about this. So
I had basically gone and eaten like crazy. This was how it used to be, right? If I have an afternoon game, before the afternoon game, I would wake up at about 9 o'clock in the morning on a Friday, right? Have my omelette paratha, whatever that thing, and that was it. And then I would come back in the evening and have, we would generally stop over at Karachi Darbar in Sharjah, just before the Sharjah Stadium, and we would eat it and then we would get home. But that was my regular stuff. But that day I had some people over at home, so I had to eat before I left. And it happens, it's not that you do it. And I did that once even in Bangalore. I did that even when I was playing for Flipkart in Bangalore. I did that kind of a scenario.
Did you eat too much kushka?
No, I had actual biryani and lots of biryani, but that difference was I actually threw up on the ground.
Okay, so which ground was this in Bangalore?
This was Reva University.
That's a good ground.
That was a good ground.
So you mean to say you need to look at the facility before you intend to throw up?
It just happened.
No, I'm just imagining now throwing up in a ground like that.
So you mean to say he had to plan? Again, I'm coming back to that. So he should plan that, okay, this is a ground that I would throw up and this is a ground I will never throw up.
I'm just saying, playing.
You don't plan to throw up. It just happens, man. Come on. Yeah. You don't plan to throw up. It just happens.
I'm saying, I'm looking at his point of view. It must have been so embarrassing for him to throw up in such a nice and beautiful ground. And if it was some Mattika ground, it would still be okay.
He gives the shit. I know this guy. It happens. What?
Okay. Chalo, let's go. Okay, so guys, thank you so much, Deepak Bhai, for finding time. I know you're in the middle of moving your houses and we have taken up almost an hour and a half of your time. But I'm sure you would agree that this was... half an hour was fun. So that's going to be edited. You only got us 90 minutes.
It was always fun. It was the full 2 hours of fun. I found it 2 hours of fun. That's it.
Same as
He's pulling your legs. He's trying to make a fool of you again. I didn't say anything.
You sledge the sledger.
I said what I had to say, but he keeps bringing it back and again, man.
I'm here for your fun. If you are enjoying a laugh on my expense, I'm more than happy to provide it. So go ahead, enjoy.
There's nothing.
Peace.
But why did you drop that catch and slips? I still want to know.
Probably had too much biryani that day.
No, you know what the best part was? Now you'll know why I was angry. I was on a hat trick.
Ouch. But you know what, Sarshad Bhai, that like he's there in the game, but he's not there in the game moment used to happen once in a while, if I'm not wrong. But then
it used to happen.
It used to happen a lot. And then his recovery from that used to be even more magnanimous. He'll do some wacky shit.
The guy was at point or gully. And he comes up to me and says, let me be in slip because I was moving the ball. Right? It was slightly an older ball and I was getting my natural outside.
Of course it is part of the game. It happens. So that's why they say we are humans. We are humans playing cricket. So, you drop some catches at times.
Because obviously he would rather forget all those bad moments, right? So he'll probably have forgotten that. But he'll remember the catch that he took at point flying to his left.
I do remember that drop also. So because that catch was related to that drop. It was more important for me to reach at that ball and take that catch because it was the same batsman. And the last thing you want is he scoring a big run and then it comes on you to get those runs being a batsman.
That's the last thing you want as a batsman.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we go, Deepak Bhai, thank you so much again for giving me your time, us your time rather, and just want to ask a small favor. I'm going to edit this part, so all you have to say is please like this video and subscribe to the channel. That's about it. You can see that.
Or he can just say what he wants to say in terms of when his closing statements. Let's put it that way.
Sure, let's do
My
that.
Let's not say
statement is how
subscribe.
much I going to get paid to say this.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing. That if you say that, this is going to be expected.
Can't hear you.
Okay, anyways, guys, it's been a pleasure. I mean, just bringing me back to the days that I had just moved into Dubai. I had started playing cricket up there. It's been, 21 years now, to be precise. Wow. I've gracefully retired from cricket. That's the good thing. I do not play anymore. I tried playing here in Bahrain, but when I compare that to the UAE standards, the grounds of Quain and DCC and Sharjah Cricket Council that we played on, they're nowhere compared to the stuff. So I've decided that I'm done with cricket. I wouldn't mind helping kids, a little bit of coaching if I can, or at least take up umpiring or do something different. I would love to be a part of the game. I still am. I'm still very passionate about cricket.
Yes.
But it's been close to 6 months, 7 months that I've not played. Just before I left India in November, I gave my entire kit to my nephew. He is in selections for the Karnataka under 19 selections or something like that. He's an excellent leg spinner and a good batsman, and he has been competitively playing in Bangalore. So I said, okay, at least somebody, if not my own kids, at least somebody is actually taking forward the regime.
The legacy.
The legacy for the lack of the right word. The legacy. So I'm okay. So I've handed over everything to him. That's it. So I'm done with cricket. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to stop watching, or even, whenever I'm driving in Bahrain, I see people playing cricket, I just stop and watch for a while.
Yeah, that happens.
It's always there. It's always there.
It's always there. And sometimes, you feel like, just get up and, go and
Just roll your arm over, just hold
Roll
that bat.
play some, do some bat. But yeah, so having said that, I'm turning 45. I think it's still too young to retire. But I think my body has refused to take it forward anymore. So that's it with my cricket. But yeah, that's about it. But you know what? It has been an absolute pleasure to bring back the memories of the good days as well as the bad days. But what remained between all of us? The bloodline was cricket.
Absolutely
True.
The bloodline was cricket. We've had friends, we made enemies, we made acquaintances who became very close friends, family, stuff like that. But cricket was something that was the lifeline. So having said this, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very much.
very much.
For the others who are watching this, please like and subscribe to Baz Speaks.
Thank you.
But the only thing I would say is we need to change the name from Baz Speaks to Baz Listens, because Baz is only listening, he's not speaking.
Oh, sir, when legends like you are talking, I have no other option.
No, only Sarshad is talking, not me.
Oh, really?
As I said, legends like you both are talking, so I have to shut up and listen.
It was indeed again an honor and great pleasure to have you in front after so many years. Probably I can say after 10 years, this is the first time we have interacted or we have spoken to each other.
It is all mine, guys. Thank you, Sarshad. Thank you, Shehbaz.
Thank you.